30, 35, 40. Quick race down the right side. Here he goes at the 50, 40, to the Miami 30, 20, at the 10. A swipe with the ankles. They can't get him. Touchdown, Christian McCaffrey. They can't get him. They can't get him. You're right.
Oh, Lord have mercy. It is the C3 podcast post-game show brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. The Panthers, the Cardia Cats, pull off a 33-31 victory with a last-minute field goal, historic field goal in Carolina Panthers history. And we're here to react to the game live, get that raw reactions. I'm here with my buddy, Cody Lashney. How you doing, my friend?
I'd be doing better if the Panthers could put away a football game in the second half, baby. But thank our lucky stars for Graham Gano. Let's talk about it, man.
All right, so you can be a part of the C3 Panthers post-game show. You can call in using the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Go ahead and turn your phone portrait mode, smash that thumbs up button, and jump in that chat room and let us know what you think about this game. Guys, it's just you and me right now. Joey's having home renovations. He's out of the office, basically. Man, I don't know. I felt like this is that, again, the Panthers coming off the bye struggle. It was a slow start to this game, Cody. We're getting backed up. We're lucky we get out of it. And then we really just surrender a field goal to them early on, and they let us stay in this game. And then the Carolina Panthers come out throwing darts, scoring, looking creative, making you feel good about a lot of the things that's going to be happening, except for our defense was having trouble stopping Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham Jr., and boy, they just came roaring back to life. Big play after big play. They come and really beat the Panthers down the stretch. Cody, when they went up 31-30, thank God there was enough time left on the clock to do something, but we really weren't able to do much.
No, we weren't able to do much at all. And, I mean, honestly, this, to me, is on our coaches. And I've kind of come to the realization, and I want your opinion on this as well, that for as long as we are a Ron Rivera coached football team, whenever we have leads, we will be comfortable running the ball up the gut and basically passing on third down, praying that Cam Newton can make a play. And I think we kind of have to live with that reality as much as we might hate it. You know, this game, I even want to say that we didn't deserve to win. I mean, we let them have so many plays right at the end of the game. Our play calling was absolutely terrible. Cam Newton had 2 interceptions today, and they both weren't even his fault. Ian Thomas didn't run the right route, and then the other one, he had pressure right in his face right before the ball was even snapped almost. So, yeah, it was an embarrassing game in my opinion. A W is a W, and you have to be happy with that. The Falcons lost, but in my heart of hearts, we did not deserve to win that football game. I thought Norv Turner did not call a very good game, and I'm very disappointed in what we put out there. And I don't know if it was the bye. I don't know what it was, but thank God for Graham Gano, because that man earned every nickel that's on his paycheck.
I disagree with you in one aspect. Is I thought that Norv Turner called a great game, and at least till that last bit, till that last run. But I felt like the defense really was the one that let us down here. Carolina does put up 30 points with 2 minutes left. I felt like we saw some creative formations. We saw more DJ Moore getting involved. If anything, I think this is that Cam had a up and down game, being a lot of downs in 2 interceptions, at least 2 interceptions. I started checking out at the end, trying to get the podcast all ready to go. So I don't know if there was anything left at the end that I missed, but we turned the ball over twice. The defense gives up big play after big play. Saquon Barkley and Odell just destroyed us. We knew what we had to do, and that is, and that's even with our defense playing. They destroyed us, and I felt like there were some positives to take away from this defensive game. I thought that James Bradbury continues to play pretty darn well. If he can't catch the ball to save his damn life, but he's made some plays for us. He's made some tackles. He broke up that touchdown. In fact, I think it was this play right here. Let me see if I can get it to load. Let me see if I can get this to transition. Yeah, this is DJ Moore right here. Not DJ Moore. James Bradbury coming in and breaking up a huge touchdown play when it comes to Odell Beckham Jr. So I think turnovers. I think that penalties hurt us a lot in this game. I thought we looked disorganized at times. And I don't know if it was all offensive. You saw those moments, Cody. But again, Ron Rivera's team does not look sharp coming off the bye.
Yeah, they really don't. And so, our buddy Brandon Herbert, he's in the chat, and you and him seem to kind of align with one another. I just think that if you look at those 2 interceptions, Ian Thomas, his first year, by the way, didn't finish running his route. And the commentator even said it during the game. And then if you look at that one point where I think it was Webb just came barreling down right in on him. I mean, and listen, I'm not saying that anyone played a perfect game because no one did. Not Cam or really – I don't think that we played a complete football game this Sunday today. But what I'm really saying, though, is that we had some good stuff as far as, giving them different looks, but there wasn't enough of it. I really do wish that we would throw the ball more on first and second down. And I think that if you can get a rhythm, it was right after that second interception by Adams, and I thought to myself, man, are we going to do anything with this interception? And then sure enough, we ended up stalling out. And it's really disheartening when you're able to take the ball away and you're not able to put up points because of the interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, this was we got away with a lot. I felt like the refs bailed us out of a good bit. Eli Manning was able still to put up 326 yards passing on this defense, 2 touchdowns. Odell Beckham Jr. threw a 57-yard touchdown. Saquon hurt us more in the receiving game with 2 touchdowns. So to me, again, this is that we look sloppy.
Very, yeah.
I don't know if we saw the long-term impact that Reid is going to make to this defense. Let's turn to that discussion quickly while we're talking about the defense. Dante Jackson made a mistake late in that game that gave Russell Shepard a chance to push the ball downfield that set them up for their touchdowns to take the lead. So you have a rookie in there. You had James Bradbury in there. You had Father Time back there and Pops making 2 interceptions. Eric Reid's first game back. Of course, they're going to talk about his pregame kneel. That was demanded by Twitter to discuss that. So I guess I have to mention it as well. I don't think he looked like a liability at all, but it's going to take a little time for him to get in there and make a impact. A sustainable impact in many ways. I thought we saw a lot of Golden out there today. I thought we saw a ton of Mike Adams. I don't know if Mike Adams can play that many snaps throughout the season. While he had a good game, he made 2 great plays. I mean, you can only ask him to do so much. So you're looking at that defense. You're thinking that Eric Reid could round it out, but that could be several weeks down the road. The real problem today continues to be is that our defensive line is not the dominant force that we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I don't know if it just needs more time to gel. I mean, it almost seems like, even at this point, 4 games into the season, that you should really start to see more. But I remember even in 2016, when we just tanked coming off of that Super Bowl run, we were number 2 in the NFL in sacks. And that didn't happen until late in the year. So, maybe it's an issue of just having to turn it on. I don't know what that spark might be, but yeah, we didn't have one sack, did we?
Let me see. Is that we might not have. I felt like we got there a couple of times. We were pressuring him, but I don't know if we did have a sack.
I don't recall one. I recall a pressure. Obata got home, and then he threw the ball. Eli threw the ball away just in time. When
Luke
it comes
Kuechly,
to Eric Reid, though,
they gave Luke Kuechly a sack, so not from a defensive lineman.
Yeah, all right. I mean, look, this is what I was saying. When it comes to Eric Reid, if you want some pizza, you can go and get a DiGiorno and pop it in the oven, and then you have a DiGiorno. Or you can take some time, roll out the dough, make sure that the toppings are proper, and make a real good pizza. Well, that second one is better than the DiGiorno, but it takes time. Eric Reid is a top-tier player, and you're not going to put him in instantly and expect that, oh, man, he looks like the most dominant safety in football right now. That's not a reasonable expectation to have.
Certainly.
Yeah, I mean,
it was. We would probably had too high hopes coming into the game, just because. I mean, or just period, because we finally did something. I mean, he hasn't played any training camp, he hasn't played any preseason, and we've seen guys be rusty. And I don't think he was a liability. Again, I just can't wait to see what happens when he starts getting to game speed a little bit more, and how that's going to take some pressure off of some guys. We're going to be getting Thomas Davis back as well, so I think that's going to help this team a lot. Shaq Thompson made a good play early in this game on a running play, but he's really continued to our linebacking core has just not been as devastating as I expected. I don't feel like was able to see Kuechly flying around, and maybe their weapons just weren't suited for those guys to have great games in this. I don't know, but at the end of the day, we do pull out a win. Let's turn the conversation to Graham Gano. I feel like the Carolina Panthers go for it twice, I believe, on fourth down, right around field goal range earlier in the game. One was like a 54-yarder. So I continue to see this is that it was 4th and 3 too. It wasn't like a 4th and 1. I continue to feel like the Carolina Panthers have not shown a lot of faith in him from beyond 50, and then they trot him out from 63 because they have no choice at this point. Thank God they did it instead of trying a Hail Mary play. They trot out Graham Gano. He kicks a damn 63-yarder as the clock expires. I don't know if there has been a bigger kick in Carolina Panthers history. I know there's probably not been a longer one, that's for sure.
I mean, at this point, you have to forget that game to open the season in 2016 where he missed that field goal that would have beaten Denver. Look, that's in the past. You honestly see the best of the best kickers in the NFL missing kicks, it seems like, more frequently now. And there's Graham Gano just balling all game, doing his thing, man. And the kicker is not the most hailed position on a football team. Everyone kind of jokes on him, but man, when you need him, and you need a clutch guy that can handle the pressure. And man, 63 yards, that was a career long for Graham Gano. That was absolutely huge. Not only for the team, but imagine his confidence going forward. I mean, now he knows, hey, man, I'm the dude. Put the game on my right foot, and I'm ready to go. I mean, he absolutely won that game for us without a doubt.
Yeah, fantastic. It's really nice to see. And this is coming from a guy who's really been an anti-Graham Gano fella. And that
me too, really.
Is that because I have held Super Bowl 50 against him. I have held, like you said, that 2016 season against him. I could not get over it. And I continue to say, like, hey, anytime the coaching staff gets around the 50, they start to get hesitant and bring him out there. But you're right. You're talking about a guy who has been on a confidence-boosting run for the last year. He has not he's just been accurate as accurate can be. And today he comes in there and boots this one from a bazillion yards away. and to win. What that does for the confidence of Graham Gano, like you said, is tremendous. But here, how does this fit into the larger realm of this season? I know that we want to say, like, look, the Panthers didn't deserve this game, but they pulled it out. What I'm just saying is that this is the type of game you need to win. Find a way to win for a season later on, 10 games later, for us to not be thinking about, oh, we didn't deserve to win that game, but those close games we got away with are the difference between us competing for the division and not.
Yeah, or the wild card, or a home field playoff game later on down the season. Yeah, and listen, maybe I feel like sometimes I'm an optimist and sometimes I'm a pessimist. Like, for example, I'm an optimist, and I feel our defense still has not turned it on yet. I genuinely do think our defense is better than what they've put out on the field. Maybe I'm just naive.
No, I think you're right. I mean, they got to get to the quarterback at some point.
Yeah, but what is disheartening, though, is that the Giants' offensive line is not good. And the fact that we couldn't get one sack on them, I mean, I'm hoping that Ron Rivera and Norv Turner and Eric Washington, they go into this Washington game treating our players like they lost even though they won. I mean, we have to do better in the third and fourth quarter. And when we have an advantage, when we have a lead in the football game, we have to put it away. Throw the ball down the field more. You have these weapons. Cam found a rhythm early in the game, and he was doing well. I mean, we need to vary up the play calling more, in my opinion. I like what Norv Turner does, but I want more of it. That Curtis Samuel play early on, and that DJ Moore play. I mean, you're now seeing what kind of weapons we have on our offense. So now we need to use them more effectively when it matters late in the football game.
Let's talk about this a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show right now, Cody. I'm about to put up the DJ Moore play. Starts with a handoff to Christian McCaffrey, a flip to DJ Moore, and then he just breaks some tackles, busts some tackles. It was a nice play. You got to see some of that talent on the field together. You're getting to see Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, and DJ Moore out there. I felt like today, again, what we saw was Torrey Smith disappoint. Funchess has continued to be exactly what Funchess is. A lot of people, and I'm actually getting less hard on Funchess as time goes by. I thought he made a tremendously big play today early in the game where he drugged that second toe where we challenged. We got it overturned. He made a big third down catch later in the game. We had so there's some things that Devin Funchess is doing, but he takes the whipping boy position whenever he has a drop or doesn't come through. But Torrey Smith has not done much for this team. Curtis Samuel gets out there, has a big play. DJ Moore continues to make plays out of nothing. Every time DJ Moore gets the ball, he gets way more out of that play than he should have. You're starting to see – do you think we're starting to see the beginnings of personnel changes when it comes to the amount of Torrey Smith we're going to see and reducing that role and upping the role of DJ Moore?
I mean, I feel you and I both were Torrey Smith defenders early on.
Definitely.
Give him time, let him, find his role in our offense. But man, I mean, games like today, look, the Giants were 1-3. I mean, games like this, even though they have a lot of high-powered offensive weapons, games like this is where you start to show what you're made of. And Torrey Smith remains pretty invisible, and it's a problem at this point. Either you're going to contribute or you're taking away time from other people. I was surprised Demir Bird wasn't on the field more for more than just punt returns. I was wanting to see him there more. I mean, if Torrey Smith isn't going to be a reliable producer on this offense, it's time to let the younger guys have more snaps. You see that DJ Moore has that Alvin Kamara thing about him, where you think you're holding on to him, and then you don't have him anymore, and he's running for 5 more yards. You know? Curtis Samuel even showed that today also. When you have weapons like that and they're young and they're fast, they need to play more, especially if, we're theorizing that, we're still trying to knock the dust or the rust off of DJ Moore and that he isn't as polished as you want him to be. The only way to have that happen is to play him, iron sharpens iron, throw that man in the fire and let him play. And right now it feels as though we have players on offense like Torrey Smith that are just they're taking time away from our younger, more dynamic players.
I just showed the clip, but we're getting back. We'll be back to our normal formats on Tuesday night. Sort out some technical issues. But I just put up the clip. I know because Cody can't see. I just put up the clip of Curtis Samuel. We didn't get to see a lot of Curtis Samuel though. Outside of that, early on, I felt like the Carolina Panthers got some good success early in the game. They got contributions on special teams, defense. On the offense was being creative, but somehow when the Giants counterpunched us, it really threw us for a loop. Like we were woozy defensively and offensively after that, to where they seemingly had the advantage, even though we had what I felt like was an advantage on both sides of the ball. We should have had. So we had trouble with the counterpunch. But I think there was some resiliency to this team, at least with the Gano kick. I think Cam continues to show that he is mentally tougher than he used to be and being able to leave the last play behind him more.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I have 2 things I want to say. And again, I think that luck does play into this victory for us. And listen, let's call a spade a spade. That penalty on Janoris Jenkins that they said was helmet to helmet, that was a BS call.
Yeah, it wasn't a penalty.
They gave us a gift, and then we ended up getting points off of that. And it's stuff like that. If that game was officiated better, maybe they do win that game, and that's just being honest. And, the other thing I wanted to say is, Tony, I know you and I caught that McGregor-Habib fight last night. And I think the Panthers are Conor McGregor. We come out strong, throwing hard, and we will put it on you. But as the fight goes on, we're vulnerable. And we start to gas out. And, we don't have that snap that we used to have at the start of the match. So, we have to be better later in football games. That's my main takeaway from the whole thing, is that 3rd and 4th quarter, that's when we are the most vulnerable, and we have to fix that.
All right, so let's. So there's 2 things that help to fix that, Cody. One is getting after their quarterback, get more pressure to their quarterback to put them in more difficult situations, more predictable situations for our defense. On the defensive ball, that has to be that's what's missing right now. On the offensive side of the ball, the conversation in the chat room has shifted to where was the running game today. Christian McCaffrey was unable to get much going on the ground. The Panthers, it took a little while, but when it started getting rolling is when we started to make them remember that Cam Newton is a running threat. And that kept their defense a little bit more honest when we started bootlegging Cam, when he started showing his mobility off. But I think if there is one place, Cody, where I was disappointed in the play calling today, is that there was a continued wholesale commitment to Christian McCaffrey as just a runner. And look, we didn't see him get any catches out of the backfield till very late in the game. I just thought when we were ahead 17-7 or 3 or whatever it was at that point, when we really felt like we were in control, why didn't we get to see Christian McCaffrey and C.J. Anderson on the field, motioning Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, and then handing off to C.J. It just felt like that was the time to give the ball to the bigger fella, because Christian McCaffrey was having trouble getting any yardage through what was just a clogged interior line today.
And then on the plays that we did hand off to CJ, it was so predictable. Oh, we needed him to get 3 or 4 yards, move the sticks a little bit, particularly when we were backed up against the goal line. I agree with you 100%. I feel like after Cincinnati, a lot of Panther fans and maybe even the coaches are like, yeah, see, we can run them between the tackles, and we'll do it again, There's like this pride in what Christian was able to do. But when you have a weapon like Christian McCaffrey and you choose to only utilize him in one area, then you're not utilizing him correctly. I want us to have that blend of Atlanta and Cincinnati. Throw him the ball and run the ball, because you can use him to, keep the defense honest if they don't know what's coming at you or what Christian McCaffrey is going to do on any given play. I'm in 100% agreement with you. Put them both in the backfield at the same time. We have to keep them guessing, and I feel this game we were very predictable.
I agree with that. Is that just by your personnel, you make them more uncomfortable. And,
right.
And that's where I think motioning McCaffrey out of but you start him in the backfield as a running back. You motion him out and you see if they're in man or zone that way. You saw a lot of, we did this a ton with DJ Moore. It was very helpful for Cam, I felt. We brought him from one side to the other. Like, it was just planned the whole time. And somebody trails him, we know it's man-to-man. And you can do some things like that with McCaffrey. Stop looking at him. I would just say to, like you're saying, is that if you use him as a passing threat, it doesn't mean you don't believe he's not a running back.
Right.
Like
no one believes that. Like Chris Cole in our chat room, you have to play him like Le'Veon. No one believes that Le'Veon Bell isn't a running back, and yet they will send him down the field on routes. If you have a running back that can do that, use him that way. It's completely valuable.
Yeah. All right. This is the C3 Giants at Panthers post-game show. The Panthers pulled out a close cardiac win, 33-31 as the closing seconds with the 63-yard field goal. We'd like to hear your thoughts on the game. You can call into the show right now using the number 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. And we appreciate your support in the chat room right now. We're continuing to make the show better each week, even through despite these technical difficulties. And if you want to support us, just smash the thumbs up button, share the show, and maybe even consider buying a Cam Wow or an I Stand with Cam t-shirt. You can find those on the website. Let's jump into a couple of calls right now, Cody, and see what people have got to say.
Yeah, this is Mel Mayock calling in. Oh, just now walking out of the game. What a game-winning kick, second longest field goal in NFL history. Woo!
Really?
We were going down. There were a lot of Giants fans there, but what a game. We were resilient. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the show tonight, but I'll be watching the recording. Go Panthers, keep pounding.
All right, that's Mel Mayock from the game. Excited there with a second longest field goal in NFL history. That is crazy. Who would have thought it came from Graham Gano? Man under pressure, winning the game for us. He is, what is it? What do they say about kickers? Like, they're either the hero or, like, it all falls on them. He walks out of there a hero today. They better give that damn game ball to him. In fact, I'm switching my game ball to him. I had it for somebody else. But, boy, at the last second, that's the way to do it. The number is 252-228-5098. We'll keep going. We got another call in here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is your boy Black Cat, Brent Herbert. Let me just get that way. Cody, you're wrong. It's just plain and simple. You're wrong. You don't want to put anything on Cam Newton. I get it. But if you look at those two interceptions, The first one was even more egregious because Christian McCaffrey was wide open, had so much room to run, nobody wasn't even by him, and he tried to fit it in.
Okay.
The second one technically wasn't his fault because the route was just horrible, but he had DJ Moore coming right underneath for a first down. Go back and look at the film. I'm sorry. And this is what, and I tweeted this a little while ago. Ron Rivera, and this is contradictory, but Ron Rivera is the worst good coach in the NFL. To have Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore and doesn't use them like that, and they both showed what they can do if they were getting used correctly, is blasphemous. Like, I just don't get it. And I do have to Graham Gano. He made his first clutch pick in his career. Don't know how he did it. I don't want to trust him like that again, but he did. So, you guys, like I said, I know y'all are going to disagree because you don't want to blame Cam, and I do think that's what it is because there's no way you cannot give him any of the blame. The play calling wasn't even that horrible because if you look at the plays and the people that were open, Cam just did not make the right decision. Now, this might be just a blimp or whatever, so I don't think he's going to do that all season, but he played outstanding before, previous to this, but we're always off a bias, so that's what I'm going to chalk it up as. But go back and look. Those interceptions were on Cam. All right, well, in the defense, by the way, Bradbury, back on my FU list. Like, Bradbury is, oh boy, I don't even have enough time to tell you about him. So I'm just going to say, y'all have a good day and keep pounding.
All right, so I thought that Bradbury played all right. Is that he did drop an interception that stone hands, but that's why you're defensive back.
Yeah.
I think this is that like to say those interceptions were on Cam. Sure, they were. They were busted throws. Like he had two bad plays, but again, I think that what I'm gonna say in response to that is that this is on the defense, man. As Cam Newton had nothing to do with stopping this type of play, this trickery where Odell Beckham Jr. throws this to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham Jr., they straight terrorized us today, single-handedly, those two guys. I don't know how that goes on Cam. And so Cam did make some mistakes today. Didn't he have his best game? But I think at the same time, boy, did he crush it for some first down pickups and some clutch times as well.
Well, and listen, I don't care if I have to be the only one saying this. Am I a Cam Newton defender every damn day that I live? But listen,
yes, we are.
Listen, I will go against you, Tony. I will go against Brandon. That first one, listen. If he had McCaffrey open, then fine. He had McCaffrey open, but okay. If our tight end, the new guy, Ian, if he runs that route, that is the better, more yardage to pick up play. That's not on Cam that his rookie tight end didn't run that route. I'm sorry, Brandon. I love you, dude, but you are wrong. On the second one, he had pressure right in his face. Now, listen, if you want to say that he had some DJ Moore wide open, fine. I'm not saying that Cam couldn't have made a better decision, but when you have someone who's bearing down on you, he's a minute away from sacking you, and you have to get the ball away, you make bad decisions. And you had to throw off of his footwork was terrible. He couldn't plant his feet long enough to throw the ball. Those interceptions were not on Cam Newton, and I will fight for it. I'm not just being a Cam Newton defender. Listen, Cam has made some terrible throws in his career, and when he makes a terrible throw or makes a bad decision, I'm not going to blow smoke. I'm going to say what it is, man. Cam Newton made a bad throw. But those two interceptions, in my opinion, especially the first one, was not on Cam Newton. That's just my opinion, man.
All right, let's get to some of these comments in the YouTube chat room. Will Lassiter, this was Colin Jones and Graham Gano won this game for us. Tin Tizzy said Cam should be trusted to check down over a rookie tight end. And a lot of people are rolling with Brandon Herbert up on this.
Hey, that's fine, man. Listen, I don't need people to agree with me, man. If y'all want to think that I'm just defending Cam, that's fine. We're all Panthers fans at the end of the day. But also what you said, Tony, on those third downs, I think we were like 2 of 9 on third down. And guess who those 2 were? Oh, that's right, Cam Newton putting the team on his back and moving the sticks when the game was on the line. See, that's why I have a hard time putting stuff like that on Cam when he's been having to do so much, you know?
Ryan Hart says this: Ian Thomas gave up on the ball, plain and simple. Cam Newton is playing really good football right now. I think this.
So I have one defender.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to say this is that were they the best plays in the world? No. Here's the thing. I think Cam Newton, we're seeing some of the best footballing from Cam Newton that we've seen.
Absolutely.
I think that it's yet to all come together with some deep throws, but I feel like his deep ball, it looked a little ducky today. Like he wasn't getting the typical zip on it, right? But once that comes into the game, and that's going to have to do, look, he was talking over there on the sideline with Torrey Smith after a couple of those plays. Cam Newton is going to stop looking to Torrey Smith. At some point, they're going to change this lineup, and it's going to be DJ Moore down there making that play, Curtis Samuel down there making that play. And I feel like those guys are just going to be able to adjust better with the ball in the air. So I really truly believe this is the first game that turnovers I think have been an issue for Cam.
Yeah, and again we're debating on whether or not it was an issue for Cam. I mean, I'm not saying Cam was perfect. And Joe Riolano in the chat on my side, that freaking Puerto Rican, love you, Joe. Yeah, man, listen, Cam Newton has had the best start to a season that he's ever had, even 2015, you know? So it's like, you know, no quarterback is going to be perfect. Tom Brady isn't perfect. Aaron Rodgers isn't perfect. A perfect quarterback just doesn't exist. And Cam is going to throw more interceptions because that's what he's going to do. And he's going to not see some wide open receivers. But as Cam's career has gone on, I am more and more comfortable with the game in Cam Newton's hands. I mean, look at Atlanta. We said it before. If DJ Moore brings that pass in the end zone, we're a tie ball game going into overtime. Cam Newton did that, you know. I'm more confident with Cam Newton now than I have ever been, since Cam Newton has been here.
I agree with I agree with that. Is that I think he's playing his best football as a quarterback so far. That's kind of just my feeling on it. Is that I really have felt good about him. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up something here. Let's talk about another good thing. Is I'm gonna pull up the video right now. It is of my boy, somebody I've been remarkably hard on, and Colin Jones jumping in here. Look, as this ball bounces off of Odell Beckham's leg. Colin Jones with a touchdown, right? DJ Moore pops the ball out. That was a huge play, and one that the Panthers needed so much. You know, there was they were about to pin them back on the 2 or something like that. It was just going to be, it was that point in the game where you're like, oh my God, I think we're flatter than we should be. And this really swung the tides. Now, a lot of people are saying, where are all the Colin Jones haters? Where are all the Colin Jones haters? You know what I was just saying is Colin Jones is right where he's at. He's at home right here. This is his home. This
special
is where,
teams.
yeah, this is fine. It's okay to be just a special teams player. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. Listen, man, like this game was won by our underachievers or the bastard children of the Carolina Panthers. Graham Gano gets a lot of hate from time to time, and we know Colin Jones does too, you know. And the fact that they made 2 big plays, it's like you're cheering for the underdog, man. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Colin Jones is what he is. He's never going to be a starter quality safety in the NFL. But on special teams, he'll make a play when Odell Beckham doesn't, you know. So good for him. You know, if it wasn't for Graham Gano, he might have deserved the game ball. But that's just me.
So let me see. I'm going to go through. I got some tweets. I made a Twitter moment thing, if I can get it to work on just my phone so I can see. I saw some people saying, look at this. This is a tweet from Matt Harmon. I wish I could put it up. It says, not sure my brain can compute seeing 2 Panthers wide receivers making plays in the open field on the same drive. That was after the Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. Another interesting tweet, Cam Newton, 88% completion rate in the first half. I thought that was, you know, is that he did not have a good second half. But this is why I went and got on this track. Pat Coltrane tweeted this out in early in the game. I want to get your thoughts on it, Cody. He said this: why is Poe even here?
You know, I don't remember what I was watching or listening to, but somebody was having the discussion on is it Dontari Poe or Star Lutulele? If you had to pick one, who would you rather have next to K1 Short? And I feel like right now most people want Star back, and that's not really saying that much, you know. I do want to at least make the point of saying, it might not be the best point, is that, you know, as a defensive tackle, he plays the one technique. So his job isn't to rush the passer. But there are some plays when, you know, he's had running backs just run right by him. And I don't really know I don't know what the deal with that is. I think we expected a lot more of him. And frankly, I think that he's played better football with other teams than he has us. And I don't know if he just needs more time to gel, which is something that I continue to say, or if he's just not what we hoped he would be. And I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, and that's a good question. Is right now he is not made the impact that I thought he was going to make. You know, the Panthers have gotten gashed on the ground more so than we had expected them to. They haven't gotten to the quarterback as much as we expected them to. But I think it's early too. Is that you get a game here, all of a sudden you get a game from Poe where he gets 2 sacks and you forget about all these things. You know, you go from Obata being nobody to having that crazy game last week, is that it doesn't take much to turn around people in their beliefs in you, just like it doesn't take much for them to turn on you, you know, and what we think the problem is. So I'm going to say the jury's still out on Poe when it comes to I would say I'm disappointed in the impact he's made. I thought it was going to be larger than this.
Yeah, I did too. I definitely did too. And I want to read this comment from our very own Joe Riolano. He says, good teams win ugly. We did that today. In actuality, this was a good win looking through the lens of an entire season. And, I like what Joe says right there, because it's like, how do you choose to look at this? Is it a glass half full or a glass half empty? And, you know, there are definitely things that we have to do better. But in a game where we did so much wrong, the fact that we were able to walk out of it, we're undefeated at home, we're 3-1, Atlanta lost today. You know, all in all, it's a pretty good day. You can't complain too much about it. You just have to hope that our coaches have the fortitude to fix some of the things that I think are a problem in the second half of football games.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 228-5098. Even if you can't call right now, go ahead and plug that phone number into your phone, because we'd love to have you be a part of the show. Before Tuesday, we'll play your call on the podcast, but we're going to be doing this each and every week after the game to get these immediate reactions. I think this is like, let's kind of conclude with this. We'll give a couple more minutes to see if anybody else wants to get a call in, but let's go back to what Joey is saying here. Think if this was the other way. Think if this would have gone down to Graham Gano missing this field goal, which, look, nobody, I don't think no matter how much of a Graham Gano hater you are, if he would have gone out there and missed a 63-yard field goal, we wouldn't put this game on Graham Gano.
No,
right?
Heck no.
So, like, but say he missed that field goal, we walk out of there with a loss. We lose 31-30. We had a game that was in our grasp. That could be, I was actually thinking this, and maybe this is me being Chicken Little a little, that if we lost this game, it could be like a season destroying game. Is that, I mean, you're going from a game that you're really not, you got to win the games you're supposed to win in the NFL and win a few games you're not supposed to win. And if we would have lost this game with all the problems that the Giants are going through, coming off an early bye, getting Eric Reid, like all these good things happening to us, and we lose this game, I think it's one of those things that could have really been a problem going forward for this team. And now it could be it could be a momentum point, it could be a shock point for this team, and it could be a shock point for this coaching staff a little bit. Chris Cole says season crippling. I agree. I truly believe that losing this game could have crippled this team going forward. But now, and this just shows you how weird things are in the NFL, the win itself could galvanize this team at this point.
Yeah, it's like, the butterfly flaps its wings and changes history, and starts a hurricane in South America. It's that one little thing goes different, and this game means something completely different for our season. I don't know, man. And the thing that's so frustrating, and I don't want to seem like a Debbie Downer on today's show, but the reason why I do feel so emotionally about this is because we've seen it so many times. We have the nickname Cardia Cats for a reason, because we will make your heart pound at the end of the game that we were thoroughly dominating the entire time. And it's frustrating. You want us to be able to get a lead early on, maintain it, and then put the nail in the coffin. And that's something that we've always had a problem doing. And you just wonder, when are we going to remedy that problem? But ultimately, listen, Joey is right about the whole thing. We won this game, and now our team knows what they're made of. They have it in themselves to move down the field, not only put their kicker in position to win the game, but, like Atlanta showed, Cam can move them down the field. And if we have Greg Olsen coming back, man, that's another weapon that is, Cam's safety blanket for the entire time he's been in Carolina. So, I mean, it is a time to be more optimistic about what the future holds for us. And, yeah, that was an important victory that also showed a lot of what our flaws still are after a long time of having them.
All right, let's couple two comments. We just got a call on the call line. The number's 252-228-5098. I'll get to that call next. I want to get to some of these YouTube chat comments. Let's blend two comments together. Joseph Broach asks, why couldn't we get to Eli? Why Renard Hussey says not blitzing enough. Right now, I saw something on Twitter earlier, and I didn't like it. I'm gonna say I frowned at it, and that was that Eric Washington is in over his head. Was the tweet that this Panthers team was not able to get to Eli Manning was true here. Last year, all we heard though was we're blitzing way too much. Is that, I don't know if Eric Washington. Do you think it's Eric Washington showing some of that he's a little wet behind the ears, or is this at the same time just a little bit of execution? you know, it's kind of hard to stop those chunk plays. You make a big mistake. They were getting chunk plays, and that's what hurts. That doesn't, to me, sound like, it seems like guys are messing up a little bit. But maybe it is Eric. How do you feel, Cody? Is this on Eric Washington?
It's honestly, it's almost impossible for me to be able to say. I mean, obviously, it would be speculation no matter what. But I think you have an almost 40-year-old Julius Peppers, and you have Dontari Poe, who hasn't been able to help K1 short as much as we would have liked him to. And yet, K1 has had a silently good season. He might not have the sacks, but he has been really, really good in run defense. So, you know, it's tough to say. You know, I think we're so used to, you know, McDermott was awesome the entire time he was here. And then Steve Wilkes came in, and he had a new look, but also did very well. I almost think it's kind of unfair to compare Eric Washington to those guys. You know, I think just like our defensive line might need more time to start playing better, our coaches might need to do the same thing. I do know that all of our defensive players have a ton of respect for Eric Washington, and that's why Julius Peppers isn't retired right now and is still playing. So
I feel like he's actually been the one closest to the quarterback half the time, though.
Yeah. I mean, he really has. I mean, Julius Peppers is still going out there playing like a man on fire, you know. But if you're depending on him for the bulk of your pressure, then it's you know, you have to have guys doing their job. And I think that's why we're not blitzing so much as what Renard says is Eric Washington, being a defensive line coach, he wants to apply pressure with our front four. And that's almost like a mantra of his, I'm assuming, you know, that way when you're not blitzing, you're letting your players in the backfield protect the middle and the deep pass. So
it has helped our secondary, though. If you think about it, our secondary has been much more effective than it was last year. Our secondary last year was pretty damn putrid.
It's almost like a flip. Normally, we're getting a lot of pressure and sacks, but no interceptions. Now it feels like the exact opposite. We're intercepting the ball, taking it away, but we're not getting the kind of pressure that we want to be.
Right. Jerry Fletcher says, bottom line is we learned how to win close games. That's awesome. Tab Black says, I need Cam to humble himself this week and no turnovers against the Skins next week. You know, it's just not a lot of room to win in the NFL when you're turning the ball over. So here, we got another cat call. Let's go to that and see what the reaction to this close game, this Cardiac game was.
Yo, this is Papa Brigham, longtime fan in Seattle. Okay, look, the positives in this game, DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel being involved, Adams being old and being alert, getting them 2 picks, and Graham Gano becoming a legend, and of course kicking that field goal. That was crazy.
True that.
But that was it. You know, we was coming off a bye week, but the offense looked sloppy. The clock management was crazy.
Yeah.
Why is the clock still going down to 5 seconds every time before we
so
snap?
glad you brought that up.
Business. And last but not least, we got to talk about the D-line. Nobody is discussing the D-line. Who was going to get off? Julius Peppers, I'm not saying it. Super Mario Addison, he could be the one to do it. Poe, he has been absent. I ain't seen much of nothing. Short, KK is really the only one doing his thing. Now, I feel like if we get a D-lineman in there, you know, a heavy hitter, somebody that can really rush the quarterback reliably every single down, then the whole defense is going to be better. I really do. Y'all know that a front seven is the most important thing to the Panthers right now. But we stole this win. I don't think we deserve to win. You know, before we kicked that field goal, I was just thinking to myself, man, I won't feel bad if we lose this. But then we got it. And I was like, Graham Gano, you know, I honestly think if we shore up that defensive line, then our team, we could go far in the playoffs. We might even go to the bowl as long as we get it together. We need to clean up that offense.
What a fantastic call there. Hit on so many things. What was it, Papa? B?
I think so.
I think it was Papa B from Seattle, man. Fantastic call. We hope to hear back from you because you nailed. You went down the list on things. Is number one, and this is where Brandon Herbert's going to win me over on this one. I'm trying to avoid becoming that person, but Ron Rivera is the worst good coach. Is that the team has never done well coming off a bye. It seems like we're having trouble getting motivated for certain games that we should be able to easily handle. I don't know what that's coming from. But again, the clock, and I think it was Craig Schneider sent me a message on Twitter before this game, and he said, Tony, I think I remember you talking about at the beginning of the year how now that we don't have Mike Shula, that Norv Turner is going to be more decisive in his play call and get these in earlier and better. And look at that. It turns out it's just difficult. And then I would like to point out the Giants had a ton of problems with it too today. So much that, like, the announcers go, are the headphones working?
It was a problem for the Giants, but the frustrating thing is that it always seems to be a problem for us. I mean, I remember in 2015 when Cam Newton took off his helmet, and he's screaming at the sideline. He's like, you're not getting the play call in time. He's just losing his mind. And it does seem to be a problem for us. And that the reason why Graham Gano has to be a hero and make a 63-yard field goal, second longest in NFL history, according to our chat, according to Mel, the reason why he has to do that is because we didn't have enough timeouts to be able to stop the clock with a minute left while we're trying to move the ball downfield. We had to rush up, clock the ball, called the dumbest run play. And it's like these third and fourth quarters, there are problems on the Panthers that don't seem to go away. And that's another one of them that does not get talked about enough. We do not get the play call in time. It wasn't Mike Shula, apparently. Now Norv Turner is doing the same thing. So what it is and why it's happening, your guess is as good as mine, man, because it is baffling to me.
I think the other point that it brings up, too, when it comes to this defensive line, like where is Poe? What we thought is this. We believed that we were going to be able to generate enough force up the middle with Short and Poe and rotating Butler in that it would make it so that we could get by with a above average pass rusher in Mario Addison and a legend in Julius Peppers. But the guy we don't have on this team, and I don't think we've had since Julius Peppers was originally, well, actually probably since we had Greg Hardy, and that is the guy that's firing off the ball, that there's just no way to stop him one-on-one. You look out, the Von Millers, the Khalil Macks, these types of guys. Now, that doesn't win you everything, but you certainly see where the difficulties come in when you don't have that.
Yeah, and, I hate to look way too far forward. We still have an entire 2018 season to get through, but this next year's draft is loaded with edge defenders, man. From Nick Bosa in Ohio State to Cleveland Farrell from my team, Clemson. There's a lot of good edge players that are coming out, even defensive tackles, but that doesn't matter to us right now, So it's like, one of the people in the chat room, it was Brandon Herbert. Why isn't F.A. out there more? I mean, he had a great game against Cincinnati. Let him show, that continued effort. Let F.A. get out there more. Another name that I didn't hear a lot of was Mario Addison. He had a relatively quiet game today, and we haven't mentioned his name. Again, I'm trying to not sound like a broken record, but I'm hoping that it's a matter of time, and that our defense starts to figure this out. Because right now, it is true, we do not have a number one dominant, dependable pass rusher on our team that has always been known for our defense, and that's a problem right now.
Any concern was now, again, like when the game was ticking down, I was starting to try to get the podcast ready. I don't have a TV in my office out of all things, so I'm like running downstairs, upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, getting this stuff, and then we had all the technical problems to start. What happened with Ryan Khalil? Was that a temporary thing, or did he come back? Did he come back, or did Larson take over for the duration?
Man, as soon as the game was over, I came and jumped on my laptop. I haven't even been on Twitter. I have not heard anything about Ryan Khalil. I saw him standing up on the sideline. He wasn't limping. It didn't. He wasn't holding a shoulder or a leg or anything. I'm hoping that it's not something to do with his neck, which is what bothered him all year last year, or that it's not a concussion. That would be real bad at this point. But we paid Tyler Larson. We paid him more money, and he did pretty well for us last year for a guy having to come in on the spot. And there's a reason why we paid him. But as of right now, no, I do not know what the status of Ryan Khalil is.
Brandon says he did not come back now, so I hope that, you saw him squinting his eyes. You don't know if that's in pain or if indication of, concussion, or if he wasn't all, what that's going to be a problem. That could be problematic not having Ryan Khalil, though, there, because Tyler Larson, we needed him where we were at and the problems we've had on the offensive line between him and the other guy. What's the guy that's got the two names that have been playing left tackle? You're probably going to need some help there.
It's Clark.
No, that's left tackle, left guard. I'm sorry. It was, what is his name? That had kind of filled in temporarily when I think when Trey Turner went down. We needed him to step in a little bit more because I think Larson had been playing on the right side. I could be wrong there. Is there any concern, though, that if this Khalil injury lingers or does anything, that this offensive line can only take so much? Because, look, Amini Silatulu's back there. I don't want him playing, though. He came in on the 4th and 1. We couldn't get Jack. Not that it was his fault, but certainly he was on the field and things went bad. I want Matt Khalil to remain a backup, so Ryan Khalil needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, he really does, and it almost seems like the football gods are making it where it is inevitable. We will have to play Amini Silatolu more at some point, and we will all hate it. He will cause 1 million penalties, and he will let defenders just breeze right by. But, right now, I remember my heart sank. There was one point in the 3rd quarter, I believe, maybe the 4th, and Chris Clark went down, or they said that he was out injured on the field. And I was like, oh, my God, please don't let our backup left tackle go down.
I know, actually, that we don't want our starting left tackle to go down, so the real starting left tackle has to play.
Yeah, imagine having to pull for Matt Khalil to come back.
God.
That's not a position that we want. Could you imagine if you ever watched this show? He would just feel absolutely terrible.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He'd laugh at us because he'd laugh at these two yuckos talking on the internet with free open source software while he's got $55 million in the bank.
He's laughing at us from the sidelines. Hurt.
All right.
But man, I'm not too concerned, to be honest. I hope Ryan's healthy. I think he is better, but I do think Tyler Larson will be serviceable, at least for us in that time that he might be out.
Well, good. Brandon Herbert's got my back. He says Van Roten. Thank you. It was Van Roten was the name I was looking for. Rex Smith says don't let Ryan Khalil sleep. Every time he sleeps wrong on it, he's out for 8 weeks. And he'd like to see Newhouse play over Silatolu. All right, final thoughts on the game. Anything left? Because we'll give the dab on them player of the week is the last part we got to go. Cody, any last thoughts on your mind about this game and what we should be thinking about going to the show on Tuesday?
Yeah, I do feel like I've said it before. I've been a Ron Rivera defender for a long time, but I honestly think that Ron Rivera needs to take another step up, just like Cam Newton has had to take a step up in his career. I think the man is so conservative. He came out of the womb as a registered Republican. I mean, you know, the guy is just, he does not want to, you know, at a time when the NFL is putting out more passing yards than ever before, we are a run-first football team, and I want us to dial it back a little bit. I'm not even saying be a pass-first, but, you know, I honestly think that when you have, you know, when you have a 10-point lead and you're in the third quarter or whatever, throw the ball. Don't let them back in. That way you can ease up in the very end part of the game and put your number twos in. We have to play better second-half football. If we do not, we are not a championship football team, and that's just flat out. Other than that, I am hopeful. We have a lot of talent. Our offense is a little bit healthier. Hopefully, we have Greg Olsen coming back. I am going to choose to be optimistic about the future of the 2018 Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, my closing thoughts is that, you know, you got to be excited that you came out of this game with a W. This is one of those games that, in looking forward, is that, you know, you sneak out of this. You needed to win, sneak away with this. If you lost this game, you're worried about, you add a couple of injuries. We find out in the next couple of days or something, this could all of a sudden cripple a season. I do think that we need to continue to see, like you're saying, Ron Rivera, take that next step, evolve in a way as a head coach. But good things going forward for the Carolina Panthers. One, it seems like Norv Turner still got a lot in store for us. Two, it seems like personnel decisions are going to be, and like the formations with the people that are running it are going to only improve from here going forward. Three, I think that Eric Reid will be a positive in a few weeks to this defense. The fact that we didn't call him out and say he had a bad game is good enough right here. But I think there's going to be some time where you see that big body make some big dang plays for us, and that's going to help. Thomas Davis is coming back, but going back to Ron Rivera, is that it seems that we do better in November and December with Ron. Ron is able to keep guys in the marathon somehow. I think there's a fortitude to Ron's conservatism that can work. And the question is, though, can he at the right times make the needed adjustments in the way he leads to get us to that point? So lots of cool things, tons of things to be talking about on the show on Tuesday. You can join us on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. live. The C3 Panthers podcast is the longest running Panthers podcast. We're going to be doing this post-game show. We'd love to have your participation on the podcast using the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. Consider donating to the show through Patreon. We got some Panther swag for sale, and that just helps us keep the website up and running. Now we're going to conclude the Giants at Panthers post-game show with kind of like the game ball. This is the dab on them segment.
I just like doing it, man. Dab on them folks. Dab on them folks. And that dab on them folks. They like seeing it. Tell me what to do. Dab on them folks.
All right, Cody. Who are you dabbing on? And don't take mine.
Oh, man.
You can. You can have whoever you want.
No, you know what? You're going to go last. I'll let you have the best for last. I'm going to let Colin Jones dab on them folks. Because for all the hate that he gets, my man made a play when it mattered. He scored on defense. And he has been a Panthers punching bag forever. So I am more than happy to let Colin Jones be my dab on them folks picks.
That's a great one. Colin Jones, captain of the special teams with the big special teams touchdown. Way to dab on them folks. My dab on them folks pick of the game goes to Graham Gano. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, is that he kicked them square in the cojones, 63 yards, saves this team, and arguably saves the 2018 season. It could be that big, folks. I'm telling you, it's a big, big kick. In fact, the second biggest in NFL history. Way to go, Graham Gano. Dab on them folks. Guys, it's the C3 Panthers podcast post-game show. We'll be back on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. We want your calls. We want your take. We want your participation. There's a lot of people that have been a fantastic part of this show going forward, and we need your help still. Turn your phone to portrait. Smash that thumbs up button. Share the show. Share it with on any social media platform that you use. We're growing one viewer, one Panther fan at a time, and we'll see you next or on Tuesday. It's close.
Keep pounding.